18. First up is a presentation by our Chief Building Official, Ralph Kaminsky, on mobile inspections. Welcome, Ralph.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I also have with me here Vivek Vias. He's the Senior Principal at Waterloo Technology, the one responsible for developing the app, or building the app rather. Mobi Inspect is the name for our inspection app, which the building inspectors use to create, to transfer their inspection notes from the field to the office. Before I talk about the actual app, I want to just put a bit of perspective on here on the Mayor's mandate of improving access to government services, starting an open city hall initiative to create transparency and improve public information, and build an open data platform. I think you find that what we're going to show you does exactly that. Since we enforce the Ontario Building Code, we also looked at what the provincial objectives were, and they're very similar to with Mayor and Council's objectives, and that's to strengthen the partnerships with municipalities and improving municipal services. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make our old model obsolete. The traditional model that we're talking about is the vendor-municipality relationship, where vendors develop product that they believe they can sell to a municipality. Municipality purchases a product from a vendor that suits their business strategies and their budget. Vendors learn from the municipalities, improve their product, sell updated versions of that product, or just create a new product. What we've done here is we've entered into a relationship with Waterloo Technologies, and we've developed a product in the cloud using cloud technology. The Mobi Inspect app was born in the cloud, as they like to call it, and we've now established a relationship where a mobile inspection device can securely transfer data from the device through the cloud to our back-end office system. We've brought in other municipal partners, City of St. Catharines, City of Vaughan, City of London, so we can test whether multiple municipalities can use the same vendor cloud to securely transfer the data from a device to the cloud. And thanks to Council for supporting this, and Max and his team for taking a chance on exposing our infrastructure, our data. We were able to prove that works, and we're hoping to get to an eventual vision that looks something like this. What's illustrated here is where software becomes developed and data stored on cloud, where municipalities will retrieve their vendor software from the cloud, where applicants will make a permit application and book inspections through cloud technology, where the ministries will get that information, where agencies, applicable agencies that we rely on for approval, will post their approvals on the same cloud, and we'll be able to produce data directly from the cloud, creating reports and records such as Stats Canada reports, Freedom of Information requests, and the like. We've been in talks with the Ministry. Ministry of Municipal Affairs is quite interested in our initiative here and wishes us great success. ResCon, which is the residential construction industry representing the Greater Toronto building area, they're also very interested in looking ways to support our initiative. The next steps in order to make this a reality is creating a builder app whereby the builders can book inspections, see their inspection results. I'm going to turn it over to Vivek. He's going to go through a little more of the technical presentation of how we got to where we are and how that vision can in fact be a reality, and then he'll show you very brief slides of what the actual mobile inspection looks like for Waterloo building inspection, and then we'll open up for questions.
Thank you, Ralph. First of all, let me start out by thanking the Council for approving this initiative and giving us the opportunity to work with the City of Waterloo to create something of value for the City of Waterloo and for the building inspectors. I also want to especially thank Councilman Whaley. I had a brief meeting with him last year, and we were very encouraged by his words. And thank you for inviting us to Waterloo. We are working on creating our base here as well, becoming a more integral part of the Waterloo ecosystem. Okay. I think I need to go the other way. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about how this vision that Rolf just talked about is going to come together. So what we started out with is we are utilizing the cloud technology, the cloud platform, to create a uniform system so that, and remember, this is an Ontario-wide vision, so this is going to be a platform that, with the leadership of Waterloo, of course, Waterloo first came on board, and then we have these other cities coming on board one after the other. Eventually, we want to grow this whole ecosystem so that they're all able to utilize this uniform platform and come on the cloud. So where we started is this Mobi Inspect app, which is the app, and I just happened to meet Wes here in the audience, who's a happy user of this app, so that's very encouraging. 8 months it has been running in the city of Waterloo, and the inspectors are utilizing it in the field, and they are very excited about it. So Waterloo first. We already have St. Catharines as the second adopter. We're building it out for them. In about 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, let's say, they'll be up and running as well. We have the City of London. We had a kickoff meeting with them last week, so we're building their system out. We're bringing them onto the platform. They're on this, or already working towards coming onto this platform. And then the City of Vaughan, we're just finalizing the terms right now, and they would be the fourth to come on this platform. And obviously the vision is to grow to as many cities as possible beyond this. I'll come back to the left-hand side, the red figure, but let me first talk about the data. So the next step in the evolution of the system is going to be, so right now what we have is, you have the traditional model where the vendor goes and sells a system to a city, and then to another city, and then to another city, separate. So what you end up with is these silos of data. There's really good data which can turn into information for decision makers and agencies, ministries, what have you. But right now they're sitting in these siloed data centers in these cities by virtue of this traditional model. And that's what we're changing here. And so what we'll have is this data coming together on this platform, single platform. And what will happen next is we'll have other agencies such as Terion, MPAC, whoever can derive benefit from this data, take decisions based on this data, turn it into decisions from the information, and eventually also the Ontario applicable law entities, they can make use of this data. And instead of the current model where they have to go to each individual municipality and request a report to get some data and then have to put it all together, they will have it all there within the cloud system itself. And finally, over on the left-hand side, what's showing in red is the builder's application or the builder's portal. That completes the whole vision, and we're actually already have made substantial progress in that regard. That we're building this out. What this will do is it'll provide a tool to the builders to be able to apply for e-permits from a channel of their choice, be it the desktop or whether it's the mobile app. They will be able to use that and interact with the city, apply for e-permits, find out the status of their permit applications, find out the deficiencies from any inspections, and have that process orchestration between the city and the builder to expedite that process to the benefit of the builders, city, and the citizens. So that's the end-to-end vision, and we're already working towards it rapidly and bringing more and more entities on board. I'll talk briefly about the existing application. We usually do a real live demo, but that's a much longer demo. So I brought some screenshots here of the Mobi Inspect app as it is being used by the inspectors in the city. It has a lot of good features. One of the primary incentives or the rationales behind building this mobile application was the inspectors had to carry around these big, tough books onto construction sites. And in talking to the inspectors, we realized that they tend to maybe leave it behind. They don't want to, it interferes with their business of being able to look at deficiencies and make sure that it is according to building codes. Instead, they're having to focus on this big tablet with a complex application. So the idea was, why don't we give it to them on something simple, on a phone that they will be carrying anyway in their pocket, have all that functionality in a simple user interface without a learning curve, so that they're able to conduct this inspection out there in the field, and with the click of a button, send it all over to the backend system. So that's what this is. It has a lot of features. It works in offline mode because you're not guaranteed that you have connectivity out there in the field, 50 kilometers, 40 kilometers from here. you're able to take a bunch of pictures of deficiencies. The pictures get automatically stamped with the latitudes and longitudes of the exact location with the timestamp, and that becomes a part of that image itself, so that if tomorrow, if it comes down to that, it can hold in a court of law as evidence that this inspection actually happened at the time and the place that it is being claimed. Inspectors are able to annotate the images. So for example, once they take a picture from the app, if they want to highlight a certain deficiencies, they can just use their finger and mark it on the image. And you can see that little circle on the left-hand side, the green one, and that becomes a part of the image as well. And then finally, they are able to, with the click of a button, right there from the field, instead of having to take notes and then come back into the office and redo the whole effort, with a click of a button, they're able to submit this whole data back into the backend system for inspections. And the synchronization of the data, etc., in offline situations, all those smarts are already built into the application so that the inspector does not have to worry about, well, hey, do I have connectivity right now? Should I submit it now? Should I submit it later? Things like that. There are additional features that we have added in, for example, these are things that came from the inspectors where they said, well, I have a buddy who's on my team who's out on leave. I need to cover for him. There's a whole bunch of rich features here that let you look at their tasks, assign their tasks to yourself. If they're absent, work their tasks, submit reports against them, things of that nature. We took an approach of, as Ralph said, instead of the traditional model where the vendor builds something, comes to the city and says, here, I've built this, now fit your business process to it. We went through an evolutionary model of talking to the inspectors and the chief building officers to make sure that we're building what is important to them. So all the requirements and everything that we did came from numerous meetings over the last year or so from the inspectors themselves, and we continue to do that. So we're adding a lot of new features to this application to make it even richer for them to be able to use this in the field and accomplish their work. So these are just, security is a key requirement when we talk about the cloud. We want to make sure that the data is secure. So there's top-notch security in this platform that we're building. At no point does the data ever get compromised, whether in transit or at rest. So that has been the top of mind in building this application. And as we move forward, like I said, we're continuing to evolve through that model of talking to the inspectors, continuously having this conversation with them. What do you want to see in addition to this? What will make your life easier? What will expedite the process and make you more efficient? And these are some of the things that have come through those conversations that we're continuing to add to the application. So rescheduling of inspections right there from the field, if the situation warrants that. View related inspections, assign inspections to self, see those things on a map. So, the journey has started. We are taking rapid steps towards the vision that Ralph talked about and what you saw on the screen. And we're going to continue to work towards that with the leadership of the City of Waterloo. So again, a big thank you to the city for the opportunity.
And that's it. We'll open up for questions if there are any.
Wonderful. Thank you. First up, Councillor Whaley, I see.
Well, I do have a question, but I have some accolades to begin. When I first saw what you were trying to do a year ago, I knew I was glimpsing into the future, and so you've come up with this solution so quickly, and in partnership with the city. And the accolade is to the mayor, who has this idea that all these ideas that are bubbling up in technology should have a place to go and be worked on and to pilot. And so good for you, Ralph, for seeing that mayor's vision, seeing how it's going to fit with us. And here we are piloting something that you have a few cities now, but you're going to have multitudes of cities, probably around the world, who are going to take advantage of this technology. So I'm really happy that I'll be able to say, I knew you when.
Thank you.
My question is, with respect to all the data that you're collecting, is there any possibility now or in the future that all this data can be, some machine learning can be applied to it so that the data learns itself and helps us, as the data is collected, come to newer and better and quicker and faster and more cost-saving solutions in the future.
Do you want me to take that? Absolutely. First of all, thank you. Very encouraging words. Yes, absolutely. We are actually looking at several different dimensions. You know, the whole idea behind taking this to the cloud was, one, it's almost inevitable that, you know, everything is moving to the cloud. But also the fact that there are these adjacent services that are we can rapidly adopt those once the data is in the cloud. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, these are all the things that we're looking at. We're also looking at other technologies such as drones, etc. I mean, those are still in the planning phases. But once the data is there, we can adopt those technologies much more easily than if they were sitting in siloed data centers in different cities. So yes, absolutely.
We've also spoken to the ministry about making sure that the regulations keep up with the changing technology. So that, again, they're very interested in the way the codes and standards are written. The way the technology is advancing, our codes and standards don't allow for the innovation of a lot of the products. So we have the interest of the province as well to see how we're maximizing our technology, and they're looking to learn from us as well.
Well, it certainly is great to see the cloud-based environment where you can actually hook into our old vintage systems and either deposit data there or access the data that's there, and to see the innovation that's happening. So, Ralph, in terms of benefits to the city and to the citizens, sometimes with new technologies allows us to give much better service. Other times, technology allows some other staff time to be redeployed. Some time is freed up. What can you tell us about this app?
The first benefit is access to the municipal services 24/7. When we first introduced the e-permitting, that's the first compliment we received, is that the contractors were able to apply for permits at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night. With this technology, right now it's just the inspectors having that information, but when we build the inspector app, or rather the applicant app, they'll get photographs, they'll be able to get real-time interaction with the building official. The record keeping will be much more secure and much more accurate. The bigger benefits that we feel, and this initiative started many years ago through the group that I belong to, the Large Municipalities Chief Building Officials Organization. And what we're trying to do is find a solution that will work for all municipalities. Many vendors have a product competitive for large municipalities. Smaller municipalities that have one or two in the building department, they can't afford this type of technology. So when we created this initiative, we challenged Partho to make sure they develop a product that could be utilized by any municipality. So the benefits to Waterloo are that we're pioneer and leading to get technology out to any municipality, regardless of size or sophistication.
Great. Thank you. And I think it's been looks like a great partnership. Thank you, Councillor Whaley, for being involved in it as well, in terms of bringing this to market, to Ontario. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have some minutes to approve. We have 4 sets of minutes. Anybody wants to move those? Moved by Councillor Veith, second by Councillor Burke. All those in favor? All of us, thank you. 2 reports of committees, Committee of the Whole and FSP. Somebody want to move those? Councillor Veith, Councillor Burke. All those in favor? All of us, thank you. Now we have consent items. 2 on there, amendments to the backflow prevention bylaw, as well as the heritage permit application. Does anybody want to discuss those? Councillor Whaley, are you moving them or moving? Anybody want to move that? Second it? Councillor Veith. All those in favor? Thank you. Staff reports. First up is the 2018 annual sidewalk report by Chris Hodgson. And I don't think there's any presentations, just here for questions. Any council member have questions? Oh, we're moving the other one, bike shares tonight now. Any questions of council? Seeing none, somebody want to move that? Councillor Durrell, Councillor Veith, all those in favor? Thank you, Chris. Next up, rebranding of Environment and Parks Services Dedication Commemoration Program, report prepared by Jeff Silcox-Childs, and it's about commemorative tree. Councillor Freeman had a question. Do you remember what it was? Councillor Veith has a question for you.
Through you, Mayor Jaworski, Councillor Freeman, now I'm all confused, wanted to know what would happen with the current commemorative benches and trees that are already out there.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor who's actually not here. There would be no changes to any of the existing bench dedications that are out there. Please don't ask me to list off all of the, if that's the next question, all of those bench dedications where they are, because certainly we don't have a concise inventory on that. But no, there's no plan to change any of those that are pre-existing.
Wonderful. Further questions? Moved by Councillor Veith, seconded by Councillor Whaley. All those in favor? Thank you. That's all of us. And if we wait 4 more minutes, let's see, I'll be right. I think we just need to recess. Call recess until 6:30 tonight.